Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start installing the vacuum piping itself. And this is probably one of the most critical things you're going to do during this entire installation process. If you mess this up, your system's not going to work and you're going to hate us. But anyways, so if your system is installed so that the vacuum piping is coming out from the floor into the inlet, you really don't have a problem, because it's going to come up from the floor this way into the back of the inlet. When you shut the unit off, any water that's been vacuuming in will just drop down. That's fine. You're not going to have an issue with anything that's installed, say from a basement or in the concrete up into the bottom of the vacuum inlet. That's going to be fine. The area where you're going to get into issues if you're coming from the top, and many times we're coming from the top. And because we're dealing with water, you cannot do the install the same way you do a regular HVAC system. Sorry, a regular central system, my mistake. You have to have P-traps, basically a P-trap, at both the top and the bottom of any connection. So if you have piping running along horizontally, anytime you tie into a horizontal pipe, you have to tie into it from the top, just like we've done here. These connections aren't glued, but you have to come in from above. If you come in from the bottom, when the vacuum system shuts off, any water that's in this pipe is going to rush down this pipe and shoot out your inlet potentially. So you have to come in from the top, always. Every single one of your inlets that are in the wall, you have to do the same thing where you put a P-trap below like this. And all that means is you put your short 90-degree elbow on the back. The short 90s are only allowed to be used on the back of the inlet fitting so that it can fit inside of a standard 2x4 wall construction. Aim it on a 45-degree angle, and then put a 45-degree elbow, 45 short elbows, the long and short, and then you can work your way up, and now you've got a P-trap. So any water that's in this section of the pipe, when you shut the vacuum off, won't come and just shoot out the vacuum outlet door. It'll get caught down in here. And by having the P-trap up top, you're preventing any water that's moving along the horizontal line from ever coming down this line. Absolutely critical. The second really critical thing is all of these joints, you have to clean them, apply primer, then PVC glue. Do not use just PVC glue. You're dealing with water here. You're not dealing with just a standard dry vacuum. You have to take the extra step of putting primer on. So we ship primer and glue with the unit to get you started, and it's colored primer. If you have trouble with your system, we're going to ask you to send us a picture of your installation, and by the picture we'll be able to see if you've used the primer. Use the primer. If you come to the end of a horizontal run and you're doing your last inlet, you have to do the same kind of a thing where you have an upside down P-trap so that any water that is being pulled into the vacuum, when you shut the motor off, the only water that's going to run down here is the water that's in this pipe itself. Any water that's in this pipe is prevented from coming down to your inlet. Every inlet, you're going to do the same. If you're coming in from the top, you're going to put a 45, a 90, I said 45 before, and a 90, and then connect. The only spot you're ever going to use a short 90 like this, instead of a long 90 like that, is at the inlet. There's a reason for that. If anything is going to get plugged in your system, you want it to get plugged here at the inlet where it's easy to get a hold of it. So if anything inadvertently gets sucked in there, this is where you want it to get caught. So this is where you put the tightest elbow in your entire system. Put it here. If something too big to go through the whole system gets in here, it's going to get caught right here where you have access to it to grab it. Every other port after that, you use long elbows so that you start off tighter here, and throughout the rest of the system, it's less tight. It's more open, more gentle curves.